Welcome, everybody, to issue 42 of Borderlands launch. Excited to have this here at Malvern again. I think we've been doing the launches at Malvern now for about 3 different issues. Does that seem right, James? 2?
We've been here a year and a half.
Year and a half? Yeah, so this was our 3rd. I don't know. I can't do math, that's why I do poetry. So, but it's been always great, and they've been super welcoming, and we very much appreciate you guys allowing us to be in the space and all you guys do. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to introduce the poets in a little bit, but you may notice that we have some really great artwork being displayed here, and a lot of it is featured in the issue as well. And that's by an artist named Rebecca Dietz, who we're blessed to have here and have in the journal. And so a little bit I'm going to have her, Josh, a new intern, introduce her. But before that, I wanted to kind of introduce the Borderlands staff that's here, because we have a really great team and it's been growing, and we're really excited about the direction in which we're going. And so I'll start kind of counterclockwise. We have Daniel over here, who's one of the editorial assistants. And we also have James Grigorski, who does some is an editorial assistant as well as doing some distribution work. Kelsey's our book reviews editor, and she's going to be leaving to Chicago, which we're really sad about. And then this issue, she did, I guess, to kind of end with a bang, she had to do some extra footwork, some last minute finagling, and so we appreciate that. We also have Graham here, who does a lot of our web work and design things, and so, and also Lauren Gantz is going to be our new book review editor is here, and so we're introducing her to this culture and everything that we have going, and community we've got going on here. And so I'm really glad to have this team here, because without them, we wouldn't be able to put together all those beautiful issues that are back on that back table. Just so you know, we're selling the new issue for $10, but those older issues, we're selling for $5. So if you look through those and have some friends or people that you are interested in reading, you want to get some of those older journals, $5 isn't too bad. You know, it's a value meal, something like that. If you can cut the McDonald's for one day. People usually say coffee, but I kind of go, burgers more than coffee. But anyways. And also I didn't introduce Josh, who's our new intern, and it was really great because Josh just kind of emailed us out of the blue, and he's like, hey, I'm at UT, I'm really interested in getting involved in something, can I do anything? And so I guess I really admired that kind of, not only the gumption, but just like the drive that he showed. And so Ramona who's the director of the journal, kind of was like, all right, and gave him a bunch of stuff, and he's helped hang up the artwork, he's done a bunch of stuff, and so it's really great to have him. And so I'll have Josh come up and introduce Rebecca, and then we'll have her talk about this beautiful artwork we've seen. So Josh, if you'd like to come up.
Hey guys, thanks. So Rebecca Dietz is a photographer, and she's a professor at San Antonio College, and she's an East Coast native, and her exhibit, Wonder Worlds, takes us through the amusement parks and boardwalks of the Mid-Atlantic coast, and we're super stoked to have her in the 42nd issue. And so, without further ado, Rebecca Dietz. Thanks.
Okay, so you guys spoiled my secret plan, which was to draw inspiration off of the readings and then decide what I was going to talk about. So now I have to make a decision to talk. Let's see. Well, thank you, for starters, thank you so much for Borderlands crew for including me in this issue. I'm overjoyed to be involved with poetry. My sister was a poet, so that's kind of a wonderful match for me to have that, to get back involved with poetry. Thanks to my friends for coming up. Appreciate that. And photographs. I've been photographing along the East Coast. I've been working on this series called Wonder Worlds since about 2002, 2003. The first series I did was called Souvenirs. And in that, I was looking mostly at the caricatures that I would find along the East Coast, along these old amusement parks, like the travel bears there, and the pirate, the teacups. I grew up on the East Coast. I grew up going to these beaches in the summer with my family in the 60s. And it was kind of the heyday for these old amusement parks. The new highways had opened up, bridges and highways opened up, and it kind of allowed a landslide of mom and pops and young kids to go to the beach. And it was just, you know, these creatures populated my summer. And it was like, has anybody been to any of these places? It's like having a gigantic toy box just sort of dumped onto a beach town. And there's just all of these pirates and jungle creatures, and they're just all over the place. And so for a kid, it puts the believe in make-believe, right? This was all very real to me. And then I moved away. I grew up, I moved away, I went to the West Coast. But I think it permeated in my culture because I ended up hanging out with street performers and becoming a circus performer. I did walk around fire eating in costume. Wow. So I think, and I didn't realize until I moved back to the East Coast, almost 15 years later or so, and then I saw these again, that this carny culture was part of like this formative part of my upbringing. And so I began to look at it more closely and to kind of read about it. And then I started to study the motion of the carousels and the swings. I started to go back and look at them in the evening. And I was really taken with it because there's this concept I was reading about called renewing old technologies, where they talk about how with the World's Fair and the Victorian into the turn of the century, early 1900s, all this industrial age, where we were developing these amazing new technologies that the amusement parks came out of. There were technologies like photography that captured your photograph, captured your image and transported it, and the telephone, which took your voice and sent it across the world. Steamships, railroad, everything was moving us at the speed that was much faster than we were used to traveling. And it creates the sense of cultural wonder. Periodically when these happen, there's a sense of wonder that comes over a culture, which I think came over the cultures at like the Victorian time with the World's Fair, and then again, I think at the early or mid 1900s with these amusement parks, where it takes you out of who you are. It breaks this rigid boundary of what's real and what's not real, and it kind of gives you this freedom to express things or to believe things outside yourself, right? So I think that the amusement parks, these old amusement parks, are kind of one of the last leftovers of that. And the motion I was seeing, it kind of traced this motion that you feel when you're moving around and around. You just get outside yourself. Your molecules are going crazy, and the camera gave me this beautiful ability to trace it. Oh, I'm going to show my camera. Yeah. So I used a camera that was kind of sympathetic to the time period. This is very old. This is a twin lens reflex where you look down into it, and the film gave me the ability to sort of trace the movement of the rides, and I just noticed this beautiful shift happening from kind of freezing the moment with these majestic, sort of heavy, almost menacing machines, to allowing them to move faster and faster until the people on the machines are no longer people anymore. They just turn into light. And they just spin and turn into light and kind of disappear. So I felt like what the camera was doing was kind of like a physical, spiritual reconstruction of that sense of the ride, right? So I continue to go back and photograph these, and I think each one has a little story in it, which I guess I'll be happy to talk to anybody if anyone has curiosity afterwards. I'll tell you the stories about each one. But the sort of bittersweet thing is that I go back, each year when I go back, something's gone that used to be there. You know, and so it's kind of, it's a time period that's precarious and sort of hanging on but disappearing at the same time. So I hope you enjoy them. I certainly enjoy making them. Thank you.